Yeah, so you should be on part 7. Even if you have not read up to part 7, that's the one we're working on today. Okay. Again, Charlie had surgery to correct an intellectual disability. And again, I'm using just correct because lack of a better term for describing what he had done, because we don't know what he had done. In that, he has now become a what? What has happened to his brain and who he is as a person? Okay, he's become smarter. That's kind of an easy way to put it. Has he become more than the average intelligence? Yes. The last time we read, he showed signs of actually being a genius level individual. Charlie wanted to become smart. For what reason? What was his primary reason for wanting to become intelligent?
So that way he can be the same among the others.
He wanted to be like everyone else, right? He wanted to be able to have friends. He wanted to be similar to them. Correct? Did that work for Charlie?
Yeah, in a way.
You were frantically nodding your head no, Jackie. Why do you say no and others are saying yes? Part of it is I think you've kept up with your reading.
I just did all.
Yeah.
Before I got here.
So, what did you find out about Charlie?
They still make fun of him, and they just are scared of him now.
Yeah, they're still scared of him. They still make fun of him. He still has kind of this sense about him that people don't like. Mostly because they don't remember. He's never able to tell anybody what happened. Right? He's not able to tell anyone about his surgery. So they just find it odd that suddenly he's gone from being able to do very little to being almost a super genius. Okay. So let's get into it. Progress report 13. It happened today. Algernon bit me. I visited a lab to see him as I do occasionally. And when I took him out of his cage, he snapped at my hand. I put him back and watched him for a while. He was unusually disturbed and vicious. Who's Algernon again?
The mouse that they first tested.
Good. He's the mouse that he first tested on. It is he was his little buddy there for a while, but he's now bitten him for some reason. May 24th. Bert, who is in charge of the experimental animals, tells me that Algernon is changing. He is less cooperative. He refuses to run the maze anymore. General motivation has decreased, and he hasn't been eating. Everyone is upset about what this may mean. What could this mean, possibly? What is that same thing that could happen to Charlie? Whoa, you think Charlie's going to start biting people?
It sounds like the mouse
Woof.
becomes schizophrenic.
How is the mouse behaving?
Strange.
Acting.
I mean,
What happens if you pick up a mouse?
mouse-like.
It's behaving like a mouse, right?
Yeah, they would just squeak and just be scared.
Mice bite. This was a mouse that could solve mazes, undo locks to get fed. He was an intelligent mouse, right? He had the same procedure happen to him as Charlie did. Now, he's acting, as Natalie said, mouse-like. May 25th. They've been feeding Algernon, who now refuses to work the shifting lock problem. Everyone identifies me with Algernon. In a way, we're both the first of our kind. They're all pretending that Algernon's behavior is not necessarily significant for me, but it's hard to hide the fact that some of the other animals who were used in this experiment are showing strange behavior. Dr. Strauss and Dr. Niemer have asked me not to come to the lab anymore. I know what they're thinking, but I can't accept it. I'm going ahead with my plans to carry their research forward. With all due respect to both of these scientists, I am well aware of their limitations. If there is an answer, I'll have to find it out for myself. Suddenly, time has become very important to me. What has Charlie decided to do then? He actually decided this whenever he ran into a young man that had an intellectual disability and he dropped some dishes.
Yeah.
Charlie ends up laughing and kind of jeering, making a joke of that individual. That was in part 5, I believe, maybe part 6. Part 6. It was in the
Part
previous
6.
one.
Yeah.
What has Charlie decided to do then?
He decides that he's gonna help all the people that have like low IQ or something, help them be like him.
Okay. What is this? What is Algernon regressing back to a mouse say about the experiment?
It only lasts for so long.
Okay. It may not last for forever. We don't know how long, but we know it may not last for forever. Okay. Now, what are the implications for Charlie? What could happen to Charlie then?
He could lose his intelligence. And,
Good. Keep going.
And then he could like go back to the way he was, except with just a little bit of a higher IQ than the original.
Okay. He could go back to the way he was. Maybe he keeps some of the IQ. We don't know, right? He could be worse off. We don't know that either. So he has decided he's going to figure out this problem. He also thinks he's the only one smart enough to be able to do it. He might be right. At this point, he has about a 204, 210 IQ, depending on which story you're
And
reading.
speaks so many languages and read so many other books and scientists that made him.
It's almost like you kept up with your reading.
I have.
I know you have, Alex. Well done. May 29th. I've been given a lab of my own and permission to go ahead with the research. I'm onto something, working day and night. I've had a cot moved into the lab. Most of my writing time is spent on the notes, which I keep in a separate folder. But from time to time, I feel it necessary to put down my moods and my thoughts out of sheer habit. I find the calculus of intelligence to be a fascinating study. Here is the place for the application of all the knowledge I've acquired. In a sense, it's the problem I've been concerned with all my life. May 31st. Dr. Strauss thinks I'm working too hard. Dr. Niemer says I'm trying to cram a lifetime of research and thought into a few weeks. I know I should rest, but I'm driven on by something inside that won't let me stop. I've got to find the reason for the sharp regression in Algernon. I've got to know if and when it will happen to me. Why is Charlie working so hard?
Because he's worried that the same thing will happen to him, so he's trying to figure out like an antidote or something that'll make it all grow back to the way he was.
Good deal.
Possibly to him.
Awesome.